Hi there, this is Daniel, and you are going to get coded. Today, I chose to teach dictionaries in C#. And I know I've had quite a break since my last video, but I'm back. So I'm back to make other videos about C#, and also I'll focus on some JavaScript as well. But until we get there, there are so many things that we need to learn, continue learning about C#. So, as I said, the lesson for today is dictionaries. And when we think of dictionaries, as I wrote here, we think about key-value pairs. So basically, you have a collection, and each item inside that collection has a specific index. So you use this dictionary whenever you want to have a collection or some group, one list of something, but you want for each item in that list to have a specific key so that you can retrieve it, aka get, later. So this dictionary class is built in C# and you don't need to do anything else. So it's just there for you to use. So you can initialize a new dictionary, you can add items to a new dictionary, you can get them by index, you can sort them, you can remove some items, you can do so many things. But in this video, I'm going to just show you how to actually create or initialize one dictionary, and we can see some other concepts in regards to these ones, okay? So let's go to the declaration, and everything that I'm teaching here you can find on my main website, danielsimionescu.com, but also I'm going to add this link so you can have an easy access to this page that I have on the left. So the declaration, I'm going to create a store variable of type dictionary which holds the kilograms of fruit that we have in store for each fruit type. So as I said, we are going to create a store, and this is a good use case because for this store we can have keys which represent the fruit type, and for each key, as I said, we can have the kilograms, so the inventory for how much of the fruit we have. As you can see here, if I scroll a little bit down, you can see that I use var store equals new dictionary. So you need to use the dictionary class. This is part of the system.collections, I think. That is the namespace where this dictionary class resides or is located, however you want to say it. And then whenever you create a dictionary, you have to specify the string, and then you specify the value of that specific item. So this string here is the key. So it specifies first the key of that dictionary, and afterwards the type or the value that you want in that specific dictionary. Because we are going to have a store variable with fruits and kilograms, I chose to have string for the fruit type, as you can see here. So this is the string, this is the key, so banana or apple or pineapple or melon, whatever. And then you have double. And I chose double because you can also have like comma separated numbers. So maybe you have 4.5 kilograms of apples in your store. This is a good use case for the double type because this can hold that 5 kilograms. If you have only 4, for example 4 kilograms, and you don't want to have any decimals in your saved in your number, you can just use integer. So the integer type would be a good fit. But since we want the comma separated numbers, so we have to be specific about our inventory, we need to use double. So let's actually create this, and I'm going to Visual Studio, and let's create a new project. And before we do that, this is Visual Studio 2017. I have not upgraded to the 2019 version yet. I'm planning to do that, so sorry if this is not the latest Visual Studio, but it's going to work the same because there haven't been so many changes from 2017 to 2019. So let's create a new project. I'm going to create a new console application so that we can test what I wrote in my tutorial. So you can have a new console project by going to File, New, Project, and then we can choose a console app. Also, I choose to use .NET Core because this is the next version of .NET, as you may already know. The current version that I have installed on my computer, I think is .NET Core 2.2 or 2.3. I've not upgraded to 3.x. I think it's 3.0, I don't know, or 2 or 3. I've not upgraded to that one yet. This is very important. So .NET Core is very important because it is portable and it can work on any operating system. So you don't need to have any other like code related to make this work, as opposed to .NET Standard, which works only on Windows. .NET Core also works on Linux, on Mac OS and stuff like that, so you can actually run it on multiple platforms. So I chose .NET Core and then console app, and then let's try to name this dictionary store. I don't know. And this is my console application. This is the location. You can change the location if you want to, and the solution name. Let's try to create this one. This is going to be fast because this is just a console application. And here we have it. I think I need to zoom in a little bit. Not that much, that's too much. 125, yes. So let's try to create, as I said, our first dictionary. So we need to remove this console.writeLine. We don't need to print anything to the screen right now. That was just there for our for example purposes. So var store equals new dictionary, and I can type it right. So new dictionary, and you can see that we have a red squiggly line underneath our dictionary because the namespace is not found. So if you press on Control dot, you can see that it prompts the IntelliSense, and it suggests that you could use or you could add a using statement, and this is system.collections.generic. So you need to add this namespace in order to use that dictionary class, because otherwise C# or .NET doesn't know where this class resides. Maybe you have your own dictionary class and you want to use that, and you use the same name, which is not advisable. You should not do that. But this is just a way of splitting up your code. So you need to either press enter or you can click on this. And right now we have the namespace included. So you can see this turned bright blue. And then we can continue on with initializing our dictionary. So as I said, the key is the first one. We have the string. So this is the string which will represent our fruit type. And then we have double. Double is going to be the kilograms. So how many we have of each fruit. So it's going to be double like this. And you can see we have no errors. So right now we have a dictionary of type string, which contains with keys that are type string, which contains double. Also, I want to show you something. If you hover over var, you can see that this has a type. The type is system.collections.generic.dictionary with t key and t value. So that is the type of the key and the type of the value. If you go inside this var, so click on this and then Control dot, you can see that you can use explicit type instead of var. If I'm gonna choose that, and if I scroll a little bit to the right, you can see right now I have the full declaration of our dictionary. Sometimes it is easier and you would write more maintainable and more readable code if you do something like this, because sometimes you don't have an initializer like this. So you can have equals and then you call a method, or you call a constructor of some other sorts which returns something else, and it's not like clear enough how, or rather what type of value you have. So even though this was introduced like quite recently, like a couple of years ago, I think in C# 4, if I'm not mistaken, this var keyword is very important. And sometimes it is crucial because sometimes you don't know. When you have an anonymous type, which I'm going to make a video very soon, when you have an anonymous type in C#, you don't know, and you might not know. There is where you might want to use, or you could only use var, the var keyword. In this case, you can actually use the dictionary string and double. And as you can see, it makes the code easier to understand because you can see exactly what type of value we have. So the type of the value is on the left side, and then we have the initializer on the right. But again, because our code is quite small right now, and it's very easy to tell that this is a dictionary of type string and double, we can just roll back, so we can undo, and we can just have var. Okay? So this is the declaration. So this is like the initialization, if you would want a more proper term for this operation. So you initialize a new variable called store of type dictionary, which contains string keys and double values. Okay? The next step. Let's try to add some items. We can start adding new items to the dictionary, and remember, you need to provide first the key and then the value. So again, whenever you also initialize and whenever you want to add a new item to a dictionary, the first is the key and the second is the value, because the key is more important. That is the index of your dictionary. So let's try to add these items over here. So if I say store.add, you can see that I have my IntelliSense telling me that in order to use this add method, so this is like the proper term of saying this, in order to use this add method, you need to provide 2 arguments. So not parameters, because parameters, you use the word parameters when you define a method, so the list of parameters. When you pass them, they are called arguments, so you are passing arguments. And this wants 2 arguments. Wants an argument of type string, which is the key, and an argument of type double, which is the value. So our string is peach. This is the fruit type that we want to add in our store. And then we have 4.5. This is the kilograms, so the quantity of our item. And then we can have store.add. We can have lemon, which is 10, so 10 kilograms for lemon. And then we have another one. So we have right now, we are going to have 3 specific or different items inside our dictionary. And we have grape, 14.8 kilograms. So right now we have 3 items. Let's see what I wrote in our tip here. The keys first and the value second, so remember that. This is the power of dictionaries. They allow you to associate unique keys with values. And this is very important and vital for you to remember. So whenever you have a dictionary, all these keys from here, all these keys, these ones, peach, lemon, and grape, they have to be unique. So whenever you are going to add more items to this, a dictionary can have like thousands of different items. These values have to be unique. Otherwise, this is going to throw an exception. So the add method itself is going to throw an exception if the key already exists. Right now, we know that our dictionary is empty, so we can add these specific things, these 3 value, or rather key values, because we know that there is nothing else inside this dictionary with the same key. But if you get this dictionary from from something else, from a class or from an API or from a database, you don't know. So this is not I actually forgot the name for this. This is not a safe method to call because it throws exceptions. Okay, I think the exception is called key exists or something like that in the dictionary. So you cannot do something like that. I'm not sure if I wrote this in the tutorial itself, but in order to avoid this, you can type store dot, and you can see that we have other methods, and we can have try add. So this try add is going to try to add a new item inside this dictionary, and this is not going to throw an exception because this has the try catch inside. So it's going to try to add a new item, and you can see in the IntelliSense right now it says that this returns a bool. So it returns a Boolean value, meaning if it successfully added that specific item, this is going to return true because it could add that specific item. Otherwise, it's going to return false because the key already exists or something else happened. So it could not add that specific key to your dictionary. This is useful, you know, because it's built in a language. You don't have to write your own try catch, so you don't have to do something like try. Let me try to put a comma, a semicolon there, and then try. You don't have to create your own try catch in order to put this one inside of here. So this is the actual alternative to this try catch because it's already built in a language. Also, another variant, another version of this, if we type store dot, we have a method called contains key, and you can call this method before you try to add a new item. So this contains key over here, you can pass a string key. So you can pass, for example, lemon, and then before this you have var does exist. Let me try to hover over var, and you can see that this is a Boolean value because the contains key returns a Boolean, which means if the key exists, it's going to return true. Yes, it exists. Otherwise, it's going to return false. The key doesn't exist. And you can then add it. So you can do something like if does exist, do nothing, else if it doesn't exist, then you can continue on to add it. So add, and then you have lemon, and I'm too lazy to write this one because we already done it. And this is the lemon and 10 kilograms. And I'm saying lazy because I wanted to have like the exact same key and the exact same value, so I will not mess up, because I know sometimes in tutorials I do mess some things up, but I'm trying to correct them as I see them. But again, if you see something that doesn't, or if something doesn't work in your code, just comment down below. I'm going to look through them, and I'm going to add that in the video itself. So you are going to read underneath exactly how to solve that. Also, because this is an empty clause, so this if statement is an empty clause, you can actually negate this. So if doesn't exist, then you can do this one over here, and then you can remove your else clause. So these are like 3 ways right now in which you can add a new key. And normally this is advisable because you would never know if the dictionary already contains. So this is the way to go about it. But for now, we are not that advanced. I'm not going to go that far. Let me try to actually copy these ones again because I lost them. And then we can continue on. And this is the last thing that I'm gonna do right now, I think, or we can just continue on. I want to make like a longer video about dictionaries because they are quite important. And from what I've seen in my channel, the most popular videos are the longest ones. So like 30 minutes, 25 minutes. Yeah. So I'm trying to make them longer because I want to explain more things. And whenever I feel like I have to tackle or to explain or to describe something, I'm just like, oh, I don't have time. No. If I see something, it's worth telling and worth sharing at that moment, because the point of this video and the point of my channel is to actually teach you thoroughly. So not just, oh, if you want to do this, then do this. I want you to understand how this works and why I chose to do these things. Okay? Next up is the object initializer. So right now we have just a simple declaration. This is just a simple declaration, and then we add some items. But in C# you can actually combine these two types of operations into one, and that is the object initializer. So you use the object initializer when you know what values you want to pass into that specific collection or that specific object. So that can work for objects too, so not just collections. So as you can see here, there are some differences. We don't need the parentheses, as you see here. In order to create a new object, you need the parentheses. But right now, because we are going to create it into an object initializer, we are going to use the curly braces. And then we are going to pass the items one by one. And this is a little bit different because we are dealing with a dictionary. And you can see that we have items separated by commas. And each item uses, again, braces. So in order to specify one item, it has to be inside curly braces as well. This is only for dictionaries. So only for dictionaries when you have two sets of curly braces, okay? So let's try to write that, or to modify the code to resemble the code we have on the left side. So we need to remove the parentheses, then we need to put our curly braces. And inside here, we need to add our items, so one by one, but they have to be inside curly braces. So curly braces, and then peach, and 4.5, and then we have lemon, we have 10, then we have grape, we have 14.8, and you can see we have no errors. And right now we don't need these things anymore. Control K, Control C for commenting, sorry. We don't need these add methods anymore, or the calling of this add method anymore, because we are already passing them when we create our dictionary, so when we create our store. And right now this has these three items inside, so we don't need to do them separately. Also, what I wanted to show you, if we are going to undo, so I'm going to undo everything that we have just done, and this was as before. You can see that on this line we have 3 dots underneath our new, and also we have the light bulb on the left. So if we click on that new keyword and then press Control dot, you can see that it suggests that, or it gives us the hint that the collection initialization can be simplified. So you can simplify it, and you can see on the right side that instead of writing them as we wrote them, we can create the object initializer instead. So if I click or press on enter, you can see that this, or Visual Studio, is smart enough to convert our declaration, our simple declaration and the add methods to an object initializer, so we don't need to do that. This is very handy as well, and this is the reason why I use an IDE, and especially for C#. So because I've seen many people actually writing C# in Visual Studio Code, and I'm like, why? Why would you do that? This is C#. C# is built to be, it is a static language, meaning that whenever you declare a variable, it has a type. It knows the type. And the IDE, the Visual Studio, the original IDE, works with that in mind. And it's so powerful because it works for C# and it makes great use of the static typing system of the C# language in order to give you this IntelliSense and give you these replacements and give you all of these useful shortcuts, you might say, in order to improve your code. So I greatly advise you to use Visual Studio instead of Visual Studio Code. And you don't need to install any plugins, it's just this, okay? So let's continue on. We also have index initializers. I know another way of initializing a dictionary, but this is the third way. And you can see that it's quite the same. It's quite the same, but it's just another way of using the indexes. And this is a more descriptive way of actually initializing a dictionary, because whenever you see square brackets, as you see here, they normally point to a index. That's what curly square brackets are used for. So square brackets are used for indexes. And you can see them in arrays as well. But for the arrays, you use numbers. So you use integers like 0, 1, 2, 3. But in dictionaries, you use the key. And inside it, you pass that key. In our case, it's the string, so we need to use the quotation marks, so double quotes, as we do in our code as well. So let's try to change that. In order to do that, you need to like replace or remove actually the curly braces. We don't need them anymore. And then you can say like something like this. So you put equal sign and then the value. So the key is equal to the value. And this is a new way kind of writing these this object initializer for dictionaries, which is kind of fun. I really like this one. I know it's a little bit difficult to get used to it, but yeah, you just have to replace this comma with equals. You need to replace or remove actually the curly braces, because it's smart enough to know that this is a new item by just having the comma here. And then the key has to be an index. So square brackets, as I said. Okay. So this is our store dictionary again. Same items, but different ways of initializing them. It depends on how you want to write it. My preferred way is kind of like this. Whenever I'm dealing with a dictionary like this, when I know upfront what values I want inside. Okay, let's move on. And I think this is going to be the last one, because I'm going to make a part 2 video of this. This has got a little bit long, and also I'm not sure how long because I cannot see. Yes, I cannot see, unfortunately. But I want to split this in 2 parts, okay? Looping. Looping is very important. What does it mean? So whenever you think about looping, you just go through the values. So you have values inside your dictionary. Now you want to loop through them. You want to iterate. You want to go through them and use them. In our case, as I said here, we want to print out the kilograms for each fruit we have to the console by using the for each loop. So whenever you have a collection, you want to use the for each. And for each is a statement that you can use for collections in order to iterate through their items. You could have used the for loop. So the for each loop is a simpler way of actually iterating through dictionaries or through collections, because you don't have to deal with indexes. You don't have to deal with how far you are. So you don't have to tackle that or to think about that, because you can just create a new item and that represents the item that you are going through. So one by one, this is going to print out that specific item. So let's try to do that. For each here and then tab. So press on the down arrow and then tab again, because we don't want to write this. We are in Visual Studio. Let me try to scroll a little bit down. A little bit, not that much. Then we have tab, the item. We are going to keep it as that. We could have said like fruit type, but that's not necessarily fruit type because that's the key. So let's just say item. And then we have store. And then we have enter, and we go inside enter. So press 2 times enter. Then we have CW. You can see we have a snippet, and then tab. This is console write line, so you don't have to write it yourself. And then we can display the item. As you can see on the left side, I'm using string interpolation. So this is whenever you see the $ and the quotation marks, this is the string interpolation. So we are trying to interpolate, meaning we are trying to put inside some strings. So we want to combine our existing string with some dynamic strings. So we need to use the $. So this $ is very important because this constructs or creates or transforms this string into a string interpolation expression. And then each value you want to add, you can just use the square brackets. The first value that we want is item.value, and then kilograms of, and then item.key. And I'm going to explain what this means in a second. So item.value, I want the value. What is the value? The quantity, the kilograms. So 4.5 kilograms of, and then items.key. Whenever we are going to iterate, this is going to take the key out. So it's going to say peach, lemon, or grape inside here. So we are going to have 4.5 kilograms of grapes and of lemons and of peaches. This is going to be a problem because for peaches, you want an extra E before. But again, this is like a small example, simple example. In real applications, you might want to tackle that. Or you might want to do something like this. I don't know, English, grammar. We are not here for that. So let's try to run this project first because we have not run this project. But before that, because this is a console application, I want to keep the console open. So in order to do that, we need to have console.readKey, and this is going to keep our console open until we press on something. After we press that, this is going to close. So Control S for save, and then let's try to run it. We can press on this one over here. Let's try to run this, and you can see this is the value, this is the result. Let me try to zoom in a little bit. The font's going to be 28, so you can see we have 4.5 kilograms of peaches, 10 kilograms of lemons and grapes. So basically this for each, let me try to put it back, this for each went through each item one by one and interpolated or changed these two things. So only these two things with the values that we have. So the first time that it went, the item was the peach with 4.5. It went here and it just changed this one, 4.5, and this one with peach. And then it printed to the screen, as you see here. This was printed. Then it went back again. It went to the second item. The second item was this lemon. And then it printed again the lemon by changing the value and the key with the lemon and 10 kilograms. And you can see it printed that one. And then it went the third time. And the third time did the same with grape and 14.8 kilograms. And this printed again 14.8 kilograms for 14.8 kilograms of grapes. And then, because we have no other value or no other item inside the store, this left, so the for each left, and then it went to the second or the third statement, the console.readKey. So we have 1, 2, 3 statements and also one inside, one loop and 3 statements. And this console.readKey waits for us. So right now, if I press enter, you can see that this stopped. Okay, so let me try to read the tip for you, and this is all that I'm going to do for this specific video. And I'm going to create a part 2 because I'm kind of like half through this and I don't want to rush you. Because I know these things are quite difficult sometimes with dictionaries because dictionaries are quite broad and they have many ways of initializing them, many methods associated with them, but they are very important. I mean, they are, I think, more important than arrays. I know it's like a big statement to say, but again, it's just they are so important. Let me read the tip for you. So the actual type of the item variable from the previous for each is key value pair. So let me try to show you that. If we hover over var, we can see that it has a type key value pair with a key and a value, and the key is string and the value is double. And this represents, as I said, a pair of key and a value. So we went back to what I said in the beginning of the video. A dictionary is a collection with keys and values. Whenever you want to associate a specific value to a key and you want that mapping, you know, just like in a normal dictionary that you could use for English, you have a word and you have the definition of that word. The same we used here. We have a fruit type and we have the kilograms. It's just our way, our use case, our way of using this dictionary to represent something in real life in code so that we can use to program it, okay? So for us, the key is the fruit name, lemon, for example, and the value is the quantity, which is 4.5 kilograms of lemons, as you can see here. And our program doesn't have any errors and it ran. Again, thank you so much for listening to this. Please check out the part 2 of this video, which is going to be recorded quite soon. I might do this right now, after I'm having a break. I hope you understood everything. Again, if you have any questions, just please write them down below. I'm trying to make my best to respond to most of them. And also, if you have questions or if you have some ideas of what you might want to see, please write them down below. I'm trying to see how I structure or prioritize my work from now on to tackle a lot of the things that you might want, okay? So again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.